Well, hello again.
Oh my God, it's us again.
It's us again.
We're back.
From the future.
And you're back.
If you listen to part 1, you will know that this is part 2 of episode 200 because they were much too long, we decided. So if you haven't listened to part 1, go back. And listen to part 1.
We'll wait here.
We will be here when you get back.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, welcome to part 2. I hope you enjoy.
Yay, part 2.
What they discovered upon their arrival was almost unspeakable.
We are all evil in some form or another. I'm not guilty.
The dead won't bother you. It's the living you gotta worry about.
If I couldn't keep them there with me whole, at least I felt that I could keep their skeletons.
Okay. Number 5.
Okay, mine is also kind of this like breaking documentary, not because of like the timing of it, but just because it's like the most batshit insane case in the world. And this is the abducted in plain sight case.
Oh my God.
That is
this case is so fucked up.
I hate this case.
And
I don't know anything about this.
Oh my God.
Do you remember the it was a Netflix documentary?
Okay.
Yes.
You might remember that because
it was like a huge meme for a while because so this is the abducted in plain sight documentary.
Fucking wild. It's so wild.
It is the most insane.
Yeah.
Please watch
Really?
it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. It's really fucked up.
Girl called Jan Broberg. At first it seems like a pretty open and shut abduction case. Jan gets abducted by their neighbor, Robert Birchtold. This was all in like the 70s. So she didn't get abducted once. She ended up getting abducted twice.
Oh.
And there's all
By the same guy.
By
Okay.
the same guy. Yeah. This really is a pretty wild case of just parental neglect, where they were like, "Oh, this is our neighbor Robert. He really likes our daughter, and he thinks that he should sleep in her bed." I think that's fine because he just seems like such a nice guy. Also, while she was missing, this child is missing. They pretty much know that he has her. Both the mother and the father have sexual affairs with the kidnapper.
With the guy, with the neighbor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
Separately, like separate of each
like
other.
they didn't know each other.
But yeah, both parents.
That they were doing it. Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
Like at one point, this guy kidnaps this
like
poor girl.
a level of entanglement.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
This poor girl.
It's so bad. And they talk about like being manipulated and how it was like, but like some of it is a little like,
Yeah. See,
I don't, like
my very black and white personality, a lot of people were like, oh my God, like he was really, this Robert guy, this kidnapper guy was such like a genius that he was able to manipulate these parents. I'm like,
or maybe the parents
we're
are just
just
like
bad.
potatoes.
yeah, that was pretty much it.
it just is like,
In my opinion.
Well, and didn't he abduct her because he was going to marry her?
Yeah,
that
he
was
took
like,
her down to Mexico.
Yeah.
Because at the time it was like, there's like a legal thing there that like he could do it. And he was also thinking about adopting her, but she already had those parents. And then after all this, at one point he like burns her father's shop to the ground.
Yeah.
And
After he slept with them?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
it's all kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty big crash out, if you ask me.
It is a big and not reasonable crash out. Absolutely. And that's the crazy thing is just like how everyone failed this child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like she is in the documentary and both the parents are in the documentary.
Oh my God.
They like interview everyone. She seems so well adjusted. She
Yes.
seems like she is a great speaker. You see her get very emotional, of course.
And I'm
but
sure she's had a shit ton of therapy.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can tell she has like great like therapy speak. You can
Yes.
see her like talk herself down.
Yeah. Mhm.
Super, super great. But like That's one of the first documentaries where I watched it like an alcoholic dad at a football game. I was like, what? Come on!
Yeah,
Like,
it was when they first put it on Netflix, it was very sensational.
Really?
It was like the number one in the country for a while.
It's like very
that's cool.
Tiger
Yeah,
King.
it was crazy.
It's just a couple episodes. I watched it in a night. I would absolutely recommend it. It is
But you got to be
bonkers, crazy,
prepared
insane.
because it is really fucked up.
It's really rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Because she's talking about like she goes very into. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that this guy told her that he was an alien.
Oh yeah,
That he's like, oh, you're being abducted like by aliens, and this isn't abuse I'm doing to you. It's like, alien stuff. And she's
for like
girl.
if people were asking her if she was abducted,
Right,
he's like,
it's
they just
like,
mean by
oh,
aliens.
It's just
That's what's
aliens.
happening.
Right. Very like,
Yeah.
oh no, this isn't what you think it is. This isn't abuse. This is just, UFO stuff, don't you know? And she was like so little and had idiots for parents that she was like, I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
Shit. But it's cool to see like her point of view and her as the only stable person in this documentary. So I wish the best for her.
Good for her.
Yeah. And she was able to like face
her a
him in
gun.
trial. He's dead now,
Okay.
but she was able to, stare him down. And so, oh man.
Yeah.
I'm mad now.
All right, my number 5.
Tell me.
We briefly mentioned this a little bit ago. Jean-Benet Ramsey.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Definitely my number 5. I don't think this one...
Did this move up or down the list, or was it number 5 before, too?
I don't think this one had moved. I didn't note it. Let me see. Yeah, no, this one is the same.
Okay.
This
just
one
needed
is...
to know.
Yeah, no, this one is the same. So, Jean-Benet Ramsey. I mean...
I have thoughts.
Yes. Yeah. It's hard to not have heard of this case if you've been living under the rock for under a rock.
I feel like that's
for the
like
last 20
top
years.
10 like most well-known true crime cases. Like
but there's a lot of aspects of this case that are fascinating, mysterious, unusual,
aggravating.
And considering no one has been charged ever, like it's just kind of
insane.
Wild. Yeah. So Jean-Benet was a 6-year-old beauty queen who was discovered dead in the basement of her home following the discovery of a lengthy handwritten ransom note. Took approximately 8 hours for her body to be found inside the house, and the official cause of death was found to be asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma and was ruled a homicide. There is literally so much information. I'm not even going to go into it really, but... There's a lot of people who have given opinions over the years on what happened.
Me too.
And it still remains unsolved after 20 plus years. Now, we did talk about this not that long ago.
We did, yeah.
After the release of the documentary, which you, Michael, told me to watch.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Okay, cool.
Off of your recommendation. I watched it. And I'm pretty sure when you told me to watch it, you were like... Yeah, I don't know about the whole parents killing her thing. I'm pretty sure.
No, I said the brother.
The brother, yes.
Yeah, I still don't think the brother did it.
Well, for a long time, you know, that's where I kind of landed, was that Burke was maybe the culprit and they were covering.
I don't think that's a bad opinion. I don't think he did it either, but I think that's
after watching that, I'm like, okay, I don't think that's the case. Because I guess there are things that don't always get talked about in the investigation, as far as...
Like, how would an 11-year-old know how to tie that knot around her neck?
That's how I
Right.
feel. I completely agree with you.
Right. And there's
that like footprint on the suitcase under the window in the basement. There's like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was like, it was not...
It was not investigated well.
No.
They handled the initial crime scene horribly.
Yep.
They just let a bunch of people into the fucking house.
Yep.
And then when her father found her body, he immediately picked her up and carried her upstairs, which then contaminates that whole thing.
Why he was even allowed to look for her is insane.
I know.
Insane.
I know. There's
Get
just
the parents out of the damn house.
Oh,
this was on Christmas Eve or something, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Or New Year's Eve?
It was in the winter.
Christmas.
I remember there was like a whole thing with the snow.
Yeah. It was like Christmas or New Year's. Yeah, one of those holidays.
Yeah.
I just am like, again, do I think we're ever going to get an answer to this?
No.
Probably not.
What are your thoughts? Who do you think did it?
Yeah.
So now I think that there may have been a external person.
That's what I'm kind of on the page with too.
That broke into the house.
Yeah.
I don't know if that external person was a business associate or like it, because that has been floated that it was like an enemy business associate or something. But I don't know what the affiliation is, if it was just a random person or whatever. I do think it was a third party that was not in the house.
Or like a creeper fan from the beauty pageant scene.
Yeah.
There is that like weird, like pervy undercurrent for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rachel?
I think that, and again, this is a little conspiracy-y. I think that the parents were involved, and I think that there was also a third party. I think that it was a setup. I think that they were going to like have her kidnapped and like held for ransom like as a scam, and then it went wrong. I think that either the guy they hired was like crazy and like killed her, or like it was an accident.
Okay.
And then they were like, because the parents are fishy. The whole thing is fishy. Why was the ransom note written from paper and pen from their house?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And there was a crumpled up ransom note that they had tried to write in their garbage.
Oh.
Well, and see, this is the thing. Like, there has been some handwriting analysis done where people have claimed that it was her mom's, Patsy's handwriting.
Looks like it's
She's dead now, right, Patsy?
She is.
she got guilt cancer.
Yeah.
Guilt cancer.
That's what you get when you kill your kid.
And then
Oh my God.
allegedly. And then there were, of course, like her being drugged up and them talking about, like, the one thing that they always talked about was her giving that interview and the father like mouthing the words as she was saying them. Like, that's kind of
like
weird. This is what I mean. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's like, this is all really super fucking
but
weird.
it doesn't all point to one answer.
Yeah.
It's very like twisty. I totally agree with
There's
you.
a lot of wild cards in the
I'm
case.
sorry that my
Absolutely.
Slack notification just went off.
I heard that.
How dare you?
I wasn't expecting anybody at work to be on Sunday
booked and
at
busy.
noon. Oh my gosh. So that is my number 5, Jean Benet.
Such a good one.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
Poor Jean.
Smack dab, yeah. Number 4. Wait, hold on. I didn't even ask. What did you think? What do you think happened?
What do you think?
Oh, I think that there was a mystery person.
Just like an
too.
external.
Like someone who broke in.
You don't think
Yeah.
John and Patsy, John, is that his name? John and Patsy
I
are involved?
I am fully, how do I want to say this? I'm fully convinced that the brother had no part in it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I am not fully convinced that the parents had no part in it.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah.
kinda where I'm
I
at.
don't think it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
I think I could see it. Like,
Yeah.
There's so
There's
many,
like plausibility
creepy
to
little
it.
details.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good opinion.
And for somebody who overthinks about that kind of stuff, I'm
Same.
like, they could have been like involved in this way, this way, this way,
Right.
this way. Like,
Yeah.
nobody will ever know.
yeah.
Oh, there's this whole, I mentioned this on the podcast once before. There's this whole theory that because there are pictures of the parents with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh.
He knew them. So I'm like, was this like a
shit.
child trafficking thing?
Oh.
I don't know. But when you go into that territory, it does get more like, ooh, because I've seen all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Even we mentioned Madeleine McCann earlier. That has
Oh
also
my God,
been
yeah.
linked to. There's like a
really?
woman who was supposed to have like carried her out of the hotel. People have said that looks like Ghislaine Maxwell. So it's like they kind of like get into every case where it's like, is that true or isn't that true? We don't know yet.
Could be
You
the
know what I
same
mean?
people. It
Right?
could be the same people. Madeline McCann and John Benet Ramsey.
Absolutely could have. It could be. It could.
No.
It could
Oh my
be.
gosh. Okay.
Clones.
Anyway, sorry.
They're clones.
Number 4. Number 4.
So my number 4 is the Dilatov Pass.
Ooh, I love this one.
Okay.
I love this one.
Okay.
Do you know this one?
I know the broad strokes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good.
I love to give broad
Are you more
strokes.
wee woo about this, or are you more?
I am more that the Russian government did it.
Okay.
That's what
Oh,
Yeah.
the Russian government.
that's
mean-
my theory.
Infrasound.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that it was okay. That's
Hold on.
the
You want to
thing.
clue? No, clue in the rest of the
Yeah,
class.
yeah,
and
Yeah,
then
let
we'll get into
me
it.
do a little paragraph. So,
Yeah.
the Dilatov Pass, if you are not familiar, is a case out of like it was like 1959,
Okay.
where 9 hikers were hiking this like sort of scary mountain pass. They were trying to get a hiking like certification.
Okay.
So this was them like completing their certification so they could hike more dangerous areas.
Okay.
So they were all friends. They were all doing really well. And then overnight, something made them, some event happened. When their bodies were eventually found, there had obviously been an incident, but it was unclear as to what that incident was. And they were all found dead, but a lot of their causes of death were sort of like, okay, how did like, there's a lot I see. This is one.
So weird.
You'll be proud of me because I don't think that aliens did this. And that's a very
I don't either.
Wow, I
theory.
am kind of impressed by that.
I always go with the woo-woo theory.
Every time. She's like, it's ghosts or aliens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, sometimes it is. But
literally never.
I love the zest to life, okay? I have a lot of zest. I'm a zesty bitch. But
so ghosts are just like seasoning? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
just like
They're like
seasoning.
everything bagel seasoning.
No. Oh my god.
Yum.
Oh my god, you
so
guys.
good. I'm hungry. But that's the kind of the prevailing theory is like among a lot of people is that this was aliens. Like there are when they found one of their cameras, there are pictures that one of the girls took of like lights on the mountain that look very UFO-y.
Yeah. I think there were like light trails and stuff
This
too.
was in the 50s?
Yes. Almost 59.
In, it was like Siberia, right?
Yes, like very, very cold Russia. So, and when they were found, this is kind of like a misconception thing I feel by people. When they were found, a lot of them were missing certain body parts. A lot of their tongues were out. And so people were like, this is, alien harvesting, but it just kind of turned out to be
they were all
animals.
I think were they all found naked? Like they had had all wandered off separately from the campsite, died separately, and some of them were completely naked when they died.
Yeah. So
that sounds like hypothermia.
That's what they said, but none of them had hypothermia. Like they some of them were in states of undress. Again, they were all very experienced hikers. All of them.
This
were
was
very
like the last test they needed to do to like get their certification. So they all had like months of training.
They were having fun, and then in the middle of the night, something caused them to
LSD.
None of them had drugs in their system at all. They didn't open the tent. They
sliced
cut
it
out of
open
it
with their
a
knives.
knife. Isn't that crazy? And ran out. A lot of them didn't have shoes on.
A really big fart.
Could be.
They were like, get me out!
Honestly, you know what? Been there. Been there.
Oh my God.
One of them, it seemed like had tried to climb a tree and had fallen.
That's wild.
They don't know if like they were fleeing. So I think we're gonna have the same theory, Michael,
I have two ideas.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I think that it was the Russian government. To be honest. There's
I mean, they're behind a lot of really sketchy
shit. They sure
shit.
are. And this is
Even
the thing,
then.
too, is they have not released their records.
Of course they haven't.
Most Russian records are sealed. I mean, their whole finding of Princess Anastasia and her brother was only released recently.
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, what actually happened to the Romanovs was only
they barely wanted to acknowledge that Chernobyl was happening when it was happening? They were like, this isn't a problem. It's fine. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And I mean, we did
the same thing at 3 Mile Island. So.
Yeah, we did do that. We did do that. It's true.
Yeah, it's not only Russia. It's also the country.
Fair. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
100% right. This is Rachel's Communist Podcast.
We did the exact same thing, except the damage wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
I understand why people attach sort of like a supernatural element to it because you don't know what happened. Like I've seen people say it is fun.
Yeah.
I've seen people say it was the Yeti who like was.
So what are your theories?
So there's this thing called infrasound sound. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
But that is one of the examples of it. And then there was another example of it in Cuba, I think like 20 or 30 years later, maybe more recently than that even. But it happened at the U.S. Embassy in Havana.
Okay,
and it was called Havana syndrome.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Hearing these like horrible noises.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like the sound frequency that will literally like make you ill.
Yeah,
so it's like a more extreme version of the brown note.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
Pretty much. It's I guess audio warfare.
Yeah. But it like makes you like physically sick. It will make you confused, disorient you. It can make you do like crazy things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the theories, is that it was the government testing inference sound on
And
them.
they got caught in it.
And they got caught in it.
Just like
And-
wrong place, wrong time
Yeah.
type
That's my
of.
theory.
And my other theory is more natural, and it was just an avalanche happened.
Right. And it's hard to tell. A lot of the snow had shifted so much on the mountain.
Because it was a very windy
windy
night that night.
Do they know
Yeah.
how long they were out there? Like, do they know
This was just one night.
one eve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And they were all separate. They were all in different places. It's a weird.
That's crazy.
I think.
And they were missing body parts, like Rachel
Yes.
said.
Yeah. So it's like what I think. I feel like for all of them to have died in weird ways, I think something else had to have been going on. Like, I understand even experienced hikers can experience hypothermia and confusion, but even the picture of the lights, when I saw it, I understand. I was listening to like a supernatural podcast. They were like, it's aliens. I looked at the photo. I was like, this looks like a factory.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if they stumbled in, because it was this deserted area. There was one hiker who did live because he turned back before this happened. He was just like, I actually don't know like if I can do this. This is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So he turned back, but he had to walk for like a bazillion years to find a village. It was remote.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what better place to test some like government weapon?
Right.
I know that sounds ooky spooky, but like it kind of makes sense to me. And the fact
I mean,
that
we
they were,
tested
like,
nukes in the West.
Right.
Yeah.
It's happened before. So I'm like, I kind of think that's
Poor
probably what
Hawaii,
happened.
man.
And not even
know.
Hawaii, like half of Nevada.
Yep. That's
also
how,
that.
what's his name? John Wayne. That's how John Wayne died. He got cancer from
Yeah.
working on that one movie. And so did everybody else who worked on that movie.
Damn.
Yup. Governments be doing stuff.
That's wild.
So that's wild. So
That's
that one's
wild.
always, I
Love
mean,
that. That's
obviously.
one of my favorites, too.
Isn't that
I'm so
good?
glad you brought it
Crazy.
up.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm
Yeah,
glad
that's
you have
definitely
the
your
same
flavor
opinion.
of weird for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah. So my number 4 is far less exciting than that.
I'm already more excited.
It is Enron.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, I have to have not one, but 2 white collar crimes on my
two?
list. I just love them.
That time.
And especially 90s white collar crimes because it was
There's
a
something
different.
special about it.
It is. The vibe is just a little
The
different.
.com bubble hadn't busted yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Very
definitely.
Car phones.
Yes. Ooh.
Carvo, what's the deal
The
with
internet.
Carvo?
Ask Jeeves.
So as much as we remember like Jean Bonnet being on the news when we were kids, I definitely remember seeing the Enron logo
Yes.
like
Me too.
everywhere.
Yes.
Fucking everywhere. And now I have it hanging in my apartment.
You too.
Yes, I do. It was actually that was a gift from Janelle, actually.
Aw, that's so cute.
It's great. But Enron was a Houston, Texas based energy, commodities, and service company formed in the 1985 merger of Houston Natural Gas and Internorth. They were like a major electricity, natural gas, communications, and pulp and paper company.
Pulp and paper.
Did a little bit of everything. And it was named Fortune's America's Most Innovative Company for 6 consecutive years.
Wow.
It was like a
They
really
had some
successful.
serious, they had really good people behind it, too.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. But all was not as it seemed, of course. And thanks to an interesting use of accounting loopholes, special purpose entities, and poor financial reporting, they were able to hide billions of dollars in debt from failed deals and projects.
Of course.
This was used to mislead Enron's board of directors and audit committee on high-risk accounting practices and force Arthur Andersen LLP, at the time one of the world's largest accounting firms, to ignore all of these issues. In the end, they filed for the largest corporate bankruptcy at the time with $63.4 billion in assets.
Jeez.
Multiple Enron executives were sentenced to jail time.
Good. Don't steal.
Arthur Andersen was also charged and found guilty of obstruction of justice for shredding documents related to the SEC's investigation of Enron and ended up closing shortly thereafter. If you want to know more about this, definitely look at Enron's Smartest Guys in the Room on Netflix. That's like that was a trivia question last week, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, yeah. It was the name of the documentary, and I was like, I know this one.
I got it.
I've seen this like 6 times. Yeah, so it's a really good documentary. Now, have you guys been seeing Enron in the news recently?
Kind of. A
I
little
don't think
bit.
so.
You will find this one interesting
Okay.
because Enron's fucking back, baby.
Really?
Oh, no.
So since the last
We
time
have enough to worry about.
I know. Since the last time I talked about this on the show, they've had a little bit of a comeback. In 2020, the rights to Enron the Enron name were purchased by the new CEO, Connor Gatos,
Okay.
Connor.
co-founder of the college company and Birds Aren't Real.
No way.
No. The birds
Yes.
were
I love that.
bourgeoisie.
Yeah. And there was definitely some like meme things happening. He like reopened the website, but the website was this like meme thing where they were like, it was like a satire of
Weird.
previous Enron
Okay.
almost, where they were like, oh, we're releasing this new product that's this biochemical blah 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 that ended up not being real. It was crazy. Yeah. There's
That's
like these meme things happening, right? But then on February 4th, 2025, so just last month,
Okay.
Enron launched a crypto token.
No, they didn't.
They did, named Enron. It's like $Enron.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Why?
On the Solana blockchain.
That's stupid.
At one point, trading with a market capitalization of 700 million before the price fell at least 76% within 24 hours of launch.
Oh my God.
Which part of me is like, man, isn't it on brand for Enron to then start a fucking scam
Also, like-
cryptocurrency?
Aren't the crypto markets already so saturated with such like
Completely.
bullshit?
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
stupid. I
Yeah.
hate cryptocurrency.
Yeah, because it seems like the only really legitimate one is Bitcoin. And I use that word lightly because I personally think cryptocurrency is a scam. We've talked about
So
this
do I.
before.
Hard agree.
So do
Oh,
I.
like in
Yep.
general.
Yeah.
I just like,
Bad for the environment.
Yeah.
Everything. Hate it.
but like there's been so many that have just been introduced and failed. Dogecoin,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Trump released one that was like his own coin. There's a great podcast called the Crypto Queen, who is this woman from like
Okay.
Brazil, I want to say, that introduced a cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And it was 1,000% a scam, and
Yeah.
she has like disappeared.
Really?
Nobody knows where she is. She has these billions of dollars. Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So now they're into cryptocurrency. But Enron is
Yes.
just one of these things, again, that was like, this company was successful. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why, if they just didn't want to pay out on these investments, and they're like, well, now we need to hide all this money. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
could be.
So that's my number 4.
That's a good one.
Okay, we are officially into top 3.
Top 3.
We are nearing the ends of our list.
And that kind of works out. You know, I said I didn't rank them, but I think
Subconsciously
these are-
you did.
I kind of subconsciously did
yeah.
because these are good ones. So
Yeah.
my number 4.
Number 3.
Oh, number 3. My number 3 is another kind of local one, although maybe just a
Okay.
little bit before our time, which is the Devil in the White City. H.H. Holmes.
I love this story.
Yes.
Murder Castle.
Murder Castle.
Yes.
That was, did you see the American Horror Story
Yes.
season with
that is
Giselle?
one of my
Yeah.
favorite seasons. It's the
I
one with
like
Lady
that
Gaga.
season.
That's
So good.
also the same season that they do the murder dinner.
Yeah, I love
where
that.
it's
and
like
they have like
because they have
Wuornos and-
Richard
Yes.
Ramirez
I loved
and
that.
Jeffrey
I
Dahmer
was screaming at
and
my
John Wayne Gacy and that was like one of my favorite episodes of television. It was insane, but it was so good.
So
Did you
insane.
finish watching Hotel or no?
I don't think so.
Okay,
The ending was a little wonky.
I liked it.
I don't
liked
know.
Hotel.
Me and you feel a little differently about Ryan Murphy.
yeah. But I love Lady Gaga.
Well, anyway. So
I don't even know if we could be friends anymore. What's wrong with Lady Gaga?
politically,
Oh, fuck
she's not my
off.
favorite person.
Fuck off. Get out of here.
I can't.
Okay,
I
we will
can't get
never
outta
talk
here.
about this again.
Good. She's very talented.
Yes.
Very, very talented.
Damn right she is.
Very talented.
Mother monster.
But I'm mad at her. So H.H. Holmes, whose real name was Herman Webster Mudgett. Sexy.
Okay.
But also better known as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes.
I was gonna say H.H. Holmes
lot of
is
fucking H's.
much catchier.
Much
than
catchier.
Mudgett?
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
Mudgett.
Mudgett.
Herman Webster Mudgett. Better than Chestnut.
Chestnut.
Herman Chester, H.H. Holmes Mudgett.
Chestnut.
Cheers, Ned.
Known as the torture doctor, the devil in the White City, or the beast of Chicago. He engaged in just about every kind of crime you could think of, including fraud, robbery, and most notably, hella murder.
Hella murder.
Around the time of the Chicago World's Fair in the
1800s?
Yeah. I'm looking at his death date.
Oh.
And
it was in the
that's not
1800s
what I
sometime.
want to read. Because he was executed in 1896. But before then, his most notable crime was because the Chicago World's Fair was so popular. This is when a lot of local inventions such as ice cream and television.
And it was like a month-long affair. It wasn't just like for a week or two. It was like a whole couple of months.
Yeah, and everyone came. All of the celebrities came. All of the major inventors came. This is when you could see kind of what's going on in the rest of the world. They had these amazing displays.
Yeah, that's how we got the Ferris wheel on Navy Pier.
Girl, that's how we got ice cream cones.
I mean, I think the Navy Pier Ferris wheel beats ice cream.
Ice cream?
I'm kidding.
Before that, they put ice cream on bread buns. That's disgusting.
Oh, that's weird.
Isn't that weird?
On bread?
Yeah, so there was a stand with the ice cream doing literally ice cream sandwiches, which is so gross. They still do that in Italy. They put it on buns. Sometimes. Isn't that funny? And there was a booth down. So they I think ran out of bread, but there was a booth doing those Pizzelle cookies, which are those waffle cookies. And they were like
a
stroop waffle. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And they formed them around the cone so that they could have something to hold the ice cream. And that's how ice cream cones were born, which is so cool.
Yeah, but the Ferris wheel was done on purpose.
Okay, well.
Well, so were ice cream cones.
They were a product of an accident.
That were mistakes.
Okay.
Chocolate chip cookies.
I know.
Get
back to the murder.
I'm in it. I'm providing local color. This is a time when H.H. Holmes, munching on a sandwich made of ice cream, he was like, okay, I'll just make a lot of money and I'll make a hotel for all of these people that are going to come and stay at the World's Fair. But I'm fucking crazy, so I'm going to make it a murder hotel.
Yeah.
So he had rooms that would just gas people and kill them to death. He had rooms that would open trap doors and shoot them into the basement. He was experimenting with people like they were mice. And so most people who walked through his doors would not come out again, which was convenient because with all the hustle and bustle of the fair, people weren't really paying attention to people who especially might have been transient.
Right.
Coming and going. Because again, like you said, it's this months-long event. So it's well, I'm not expecting Jimmy back for...
Yeah. And frankly, there was a lot of other immigration into Chicago happening at that time too anyway.
Yes. And
workers and Yeah.
Because that was during the time of the skyscraper, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or the beginnings of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He seemed to be a person completely without empathy.
Yeah. He literally was just la-di-da around his murder hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing it for fun.
Well, he did have a partner too or something, right?
Yes, he did. That was how he eventually got caught, was he had a business partner and then he just kind of fumbled too much.
Gotcha.
And the business partner was like, well, you're not going to pay me to help you murder. I'm going to go to the police. That's what I'm going to do.
Damn.
And
that was a really good accent.
Oh, thanks. It's better than my
That's the only one that she can do well. That is literally the only one she can do well. Lies and slender.
Liza Minnelli lies.
Liza Minnelli.
But so he was eventually executed in 1896 for general murder and mayhem. Murdering people. But just the idea of I'm gonna make this building with all of these crazy trap doors and it's so scary to think about.
Hallways to nowhere.
Yes.
Trap.
Kind of like the Winchester Castle, but
Yes.
for murder, not for
fun, not for being weird.
Yeah, not for ghosts,
trapping ghosts
and stuff. So silly.
Would love to go there.
Me too.
I would actually love to go there. I think
Let's
it'd be cool.
please go there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one is always
Add it to
stuck
the
in
list.
my mind. Yes, absolutely. We'll put it on our tour schedule.
Yeah. The tour schedule.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. My number three. Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos.
Love that. Okay.
So this case, my top three is very tough to break into. I'm going to be honest. It stays pretty consistent.
Okay.
But this is just one of these cases that I am constantly fascinated with
Looked
because
cute as her for Halloween.
I did go for her as Halloween one year. So Elizabeth Holmes was an American biotechnology entrepreneur who started a blood testing company called Theranos as this like venture out of Stanford. They claimed that their systems could run hundreds of tests from a single drop of blood.
So convenient.
So convenient
Maybe
and
a little too convenient.
very appealing for people who are like diabetic and have to take different blood tests or having to constantly go in for blood tests for like, you know, whatever cancer or, you know, whatever you got going on.
It's like so nice.
Yeah. And she got a ton of attention from hospitals. They eventually did a deal with Walgreens to like have the blood testing in Walgreens. She was even named the youngest and wealthiest self-made billionaire in the US by Forbes in 2015.
Crazy.
The only problem is it was all fucking lie.
It was all a lie.
Didn't work.
All a lie.
She was like, give me your blood for nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like a Keurig for blood.
Pretty much. And it wasn't their machines.
No.
They were like using machines from another company and slapping Theranos like labels on them.
So awful.
They still were having, instead of being able to have the blood tested in the facility, they had to like collect it and send it to
A real
Theranos.
facility.
But they were collecting like vials of fucking blood.
Yeah.
When Theranos was like, we just need one drop. Like,
it's like, that's a little more.
yeah, it
than
was
you said.
crazy. So she had been lying to everybody.
God damn it, I made a safe.
I know. Well, she was very good at that too.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She's so pretty.
Just a year after this Forbes thing, Fortune named Holmes one of the 19 most disappointing leaders.
Wow.
Just like, damn.
How the mighty have fallen.
After a series of reporting by John Carreyrou of the Wall Street Journal, who'd had the help of some whistleblowers from within the company, later there was an investigation by the SEC. Holmes and her COO and lover, Sunny Balwani, were charged with fraudulently raising $700 million from the investors through a fraud involving false or exaggerated claims about the accuracy of the company's blood testing technology in 2018. For that, she paid a $500,000 fine and returned 18 million shares to the company, relinquished voting control of Theranos, and was banned for 10 years from serving as an officer or director of a public company.
Wow.
And then later in 2018, Holmes and Balwani were handed federal indictments of 9 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. They both pleaded not guilty. 2022, she was found guilty of 3 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy. She was sentenced to 11 and a quarter years in federal prison.
That's it.
It's weird. Yeah.
Back to the short sentencing.
That's crazy.
And
fraud.
$452 million in restitution. And this is a different type of fraud. This is not just financial. This is fucking health fraud.
Yeah, medical fraud.
So this was the thing. During her trial, there were a lot of patients that came forward that were like, they told me that my cancer was back. And in fact, the blood tests were not accurate. There actually wasn't an issue. There was like a woman who was pregnant that was like, they're telling me that like the child was already dead.
Oh, wow.
Type of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that type of thing, right? But like at trial, there was not enough evidence to bring these claims,
crazy.
which is why she was only charged for the fraud, is because they did not have the evidence to bring these like medical fraud claims.
Sue that lady for emotional distress.
I know. And I think there might have been like a civil lawsuit against the company on behalf of some of these people. Yeah, because that was like, those are just 2 examples, but there were a lot of people that
versus blood Keurig.
Yeah, because they did make it into blood Keurig. They did make it into Walgreens. Like, they did actually physically make it there.
Yeah.
So she is currently expected to be released in 2032. She has gotten a couple years off of her sentence and is serving prison time in the same prison as Jen Shaw from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oh my God.
They are like buddies.
What?
Yeah.
No.
It's wild. This is just, again, one of these cases that I'm like, I know, isn't that crazy? Jen Shaw, for those that don't know, she's on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and she also got indicted for wire fraud and mail fraud.
Which is also another show you got me.
Yes, it's so good. And it was all on the show in the fucking...
in the car.
In the van.
That one.
The Sprinter van.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And like the cops come up and they're like, we're looking for Jen Shaw. And they're like, she just left. And then she was scamming old people out of something.
Out of
money.
Yeah.
But out of
fake subscriptions every month or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was
Wow.
crazy. Anyway, they're in the same prison together.
That's cute.
I just find she took
Did you see Jen get her sentence reduced again last month?
Yeah, she's going to be out next year or the year after.
Oh, Elizabeth's going to be so lonely. Yeah. I think they'll stay in touch.
It's okay. She'll get her sentence reduced too.
Oh,
probably.
and 1,000% Jen Shaw is going to be back on SLC.
Oh, for sure.
I bet.
What if?
I would not be surprised.
What if Elizabeth comes on it? Can you imagine?
Well, I don't think she's from Utah.
So what?
No, but also I don't think she would do that. That seems out of character for her, especially getting out of prison.
Her whole brand was like
funny.
girl Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. This case is just like vast.
Yes.
There is a lot of medical stuff that happens, but like the amount of lying that she did to literally everybody, like she changed her voice.
Yep.
She didn't tell anybody about this affair with her chief operating officer.
Wow. Shady lady.
Yeah. Yeah. She was like telling her employees to just like blatantly disregard procedure and lie to people who came in. She was being weirdly secretive. And then to continue and then she gets indicted, and during trial she meets this guy who's like a hotel mogul heir.
AJ Tomes.
And she gets fucking pregnant. And she's like, well, now you can't send me to prison because I'm pregnant. Like,
wow.
And they were like, nah, it's cool. You can have the baby and we'll send you afterwards.
Which
is exactly what they fucking did. She was,
wow.
There's a lot of theory, and I believe this, that she possibly got pregnant in order to sway the jury like extend her not being in prison.
They used to call that in
it's
like
crazy.
piratical times. They'd call
weird.
that pleading your belly.
Yes.
Both the two most famous white pirates, Anne Bonny and Mary Read, both when they were up for execution pled their bellies and said, no, I'm pregnant, you can't execute me. And they were like, okay.
Yeah. I just love that the judge was like, no, it's fine, you can have the baby, but like, you're going right after.
This is the 21st century, girlie. We'll see you there.
She did try to make, because she tried to make the argument like, my kids are going to need me, blah, 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 blah. Like,
for what? They have a Keurig at home, girl.
It's fine.
They don't need you for anything.
They don't need your blood Keurig.
They don't need your blood Keurig.
Elizabeth.
Yes. All right. Number 2. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here.
Okay, number two. Little known case. Not sure if you'll know it. The case of Lizzie Andrew Borden.
Oh shit!
Okay.
I have to.
Scandal.
Did you go to Zion?
Yeah.
You did, right? So. Do you know the Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her father 40 whacks when she saw what she had done? She gave her father 41 or mother 41.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I said that once to my husband, and Michael went to the same school,
like elementary
school, and he was like,
Lutheran school.
I've never heard of that in my life. I was like, did they not teach that at private school?
Well, it's not like they taught it in school.
Oh, I learned it in class.
From who?
A teacher, probably Miss Harold.
Oh.
To be honest with you.
I mean, I remember hearing it just in general.
We would sing it on the playground.
Yeah.
He was like, what? He was like horrified. I'm like, yeah, welcome to public school.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's why I was researching murderers and serial killers in my freshman and sophomore year of high school.
I was in the library reading murder books. Lizzie Borden. And that's the thing, is like there's nursery rhymes about her. That's one of those that I think the majority of people think that she did the murder. You know, it's one of those cases where she was acquitted of the crime. Yeah. She was not.
Oh, no, she definitely did that shit.
No, I agree.
Yeah, she definitely did that shit.
Yeah. That's one where I'm always like, I'm very confused as to how they found her not guilty. Yeah. I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
There is so much evidence. I understand and agree with the theory that someone else could have been involved, like the maid or her uncle, who were both kind of like around the edges. But I'm like, do you burn a bloody dress at midnight if you're innocent? No. I
mean,
no.
Who's to say?
It was one of the first American sensational trials. There was all this they brought all of this bloody stuff into trial, and that was unprecedented, and she's fainting every couple seconds, which, whatever.
Well, and those pictures are gruesome.
So gruesome.
You've never seen them?
I don't know.
They're a real,
They are a shock, my friend.
Okay, let me look it up.
Yeah. Pull that shit up because...
Sorry, I should have included... I thought they were kind of gross.
No. they are gross. They are gross.
What should I search?
Just search Lizzie Borden and then go to
Crime scene
images.
photos.
Oops.
They're super they're black and white, but they're super graphic. And you can still go to the Lizzie Borden house today. It's in Fall River, Massachusetts, and it's a bed and breakfast. It actually, I don't know if it's sold, but it was for sale recently. So I'm hoping that they'll continue.
Oh shit, people have colorized these? Why?
Of course they have.
Why?
You need to see the arterial blood.
No.
So the whole story is that Lizzie Borden, who was a young woman at the time, still living with
and
her...
the family was pretty wealthy.
Very
too.
wealthy. Very wealthy.
Yeah.
She was living with her father and her stepmother. There's a lot of sort of small town gossip, and that there was a lot of tension in the family. Lizzie was reportedly shoplifting and engaging in strange behavior. And then one day she reported that that she had found her father and her stepmother killed, bludgeoned to death in their home with an axe. Did you find the pictures?
I found pictures.
Aren't they gross?
This is crazy.
Break.
Yeah.
Super, super gross. Super gruesome crime. And again, she's a woman, and this is the 1800s, so
they had not grappled with
what?
what to do with women in crime.
How would she even know
all.
how to hold an axe? All she knows how to hold is a needle and thread.
Right.
So
whatever.
I have spoiler questions.
Yes, tell me.
Because I don't remember everything about this case.
I got you.
Did she do this?
Yes.
She did this?
I mean, I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah.
I think this
It is more likely than not that she did.
How old was she when this murder happened?
What, 14, 15, 16?
No,
She's in her 20s.
not that young. She was in her 20s.
Yeah.
In her 20s or 30s.
Okay.
And that was the thing, it was so horrific. I think a lot of murders of that time were oh, maybe you poisoned somebody. Maybe, they accidentally fall down the
That
stairs.
was a very womanly crime,
Absolutely.
poisoning. Yeah.
She was only 5'4".
Yeah, she was teeny tiny.
So how?
I think she took him by surprise. So the father was asleep. He was killed in there's a chaise lounge
Yeah,
that
I
is
saw
still
that picture.
at the bed
and it
and
looked
breakfast.
it was across his face or something.
His whole head got caved in.
Yeah.
And that, it wasn't exactly, the nursery rhyme goes, is she gave her father 40 racks, she gave her mother 41. It was actually her stepmother, and it wasn't quite 40, but it was quite a few. You know, you think of axe in a human head, you don't need that many blows, but it was certainly overkill.
She was born 18.
Oh, so it wasn't a one and done. It was a chop, 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 chop.
18,
Oh, yeah,
so she
and
was 32.
She was 32. Okay, I thought she was a little
so
bit
she's
younger.
an
I'm
adult
sorry.
woman.
She's
at the
our
time
age.
of this.
Yeah.
She's our age.
And that was the thing too, when she was
Full of rage.
considered
Yes. Okay.
a
Pop-off
spinster.
queen.
I understand it now.
Yeah, understandable. Millennial rage. She was considered a spinster, which kind of drove into the tension in the home.
Yeah.
And there was this whole thing of is she getting the inheritance? All of this stuff. So it was kind of assumed that she did it. There was a lot of public outcry when she was acquitted. It was just sort of lack of evidence. They really weren't sure. Her story changed a million bazillion times. She was not a reliable witness. She lied all the time. She hid evidence, but they just didn't have enough to convict her. So she was acquitted, and infamously, so she got their money because they died and they couldn't prove that she killed them. So she got the money, and she never married. She remained in the town and had bought a house, I believe, with her sister, who wasn't there at the time. She wasn't involved in the murder at all.
Yeah.
And just would hold parties and became sort of a weird socialite. But she faced a lot of negativity from the surrounding town because they all were you
definitely killed your parents.
And she was whatever, come in for a drink, whatever.
Yeah.
So It was at a hotel that the murder happened?
No,
or was
No,
it
it's a
house?
hotel now.
Oh, okay.
They've made
it was their
it's like a
home.
bed and breakfast.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So she moved out of that house, bought a new house up the hill that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And just lived there and was like having society parties.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I know.
I know for a fact she had seances at that house.
Oh,
I'm
probably.
sure she did.
Probably.
I'm
Cheesecloth
sure
and
she did.
everything.
Oh my God, to be a fly on the
Yeah.
wall. Absolutely. But like that was the thing is she, hey, are you here? I can't hear you. Oh, it sounds like I didn't do it and I deserve all your money. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mama. I knew it. I knew it to be true. But I love, there's an ookie spooky thing about this case. And well, not ookie spooky, it's just genetics. That family has descendants. I watched like obviously a ghost show, but they went into like the local cemetery there and were looking at her descendants, and one of her, it might have been her aunt or something. It wasn't that far removed. An ancestor in her family had gone mad and drowned her children and in the well and had killed herself.
Great.
Oh my
So
God.
there's
Love
this
that.
whole thing of like, is there
Like a
generational
curse?
mental? Well, of course they put it off as a curse.
I was like, is it a curse? Sorry, I'm just trying to meet you where you are.
Oh my God.
I'm just trying to meet you where you're at.
I feel so honored. Well, of course, it's like the Kennedys. Is it a curse or is it just a bunch of rich people being stupid?
Right.
It's the latter.
Yeah.
But, so it's a really interesting case. It's an interesting family. You can still go to the bed and breakfast, and they have a lot of the same. The Chaise Lounge is still there, and you can look at it. That's
Great.
gross. You
Love
can
that.
poke the blood stain.
I like that. All right, my number two
Number two.
is Scientology.
Oh.
That's a really good one.
I like
In
that.
general, like Scientology.
Yeah, yeah.
in
Where
general.
is Shirley Miscavige?
Yeah.
Where is she?
Literally.
This is my
Literally where?
like ultimate weakness
Yes.
when it comes to like I'm constantly trying to consume Scientology content.
It scares me.
Yeah. And now there's definitely a lot more awareness about it and like what they fucking do. But they've been taken to court many, many times. And especially early on in the church, like way back when LRH was alive, L. Ron Hubbard. Now, this is just a small list of things that have been brought to light.
God.
These are the biggest ones. Operation Snow White, which was a criminal conspiracy aiming to purge unfavorable records about founder LRH, including a series of infiltrations into and thefts from 136 government agencies, foreign embassies, and consulates.
That's crazy.
A series of wiretaps and other shady methods that ended up initiating an investigation by the U.S. government.
Wow.
11 highly placed church executives, including LRH's wife, Mary Sue Hubbard, pled guilty and were convicted of obstructing justice, burglary of government offices, and theft of documents and government properties.
Jeez.
The investigation into Operation Snow White revealed an additional plot called Operation Freakout, in which their plan was to have author and journalist Paulette Cooper imprisoned or committed into a psychiatric institution because her writing was critical of the church.
Yep.
She came out with this series of articles it was a paper based in Clearwater, Florida, which is a big Scientology base.
town. Yeah.
They have one of their main
One of their
buildings
first
is
mega
down there.
churches was out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So she was writing these articles like critical of Scientology because basically they bought this huge property and then just like moved in and people were like, who the fuck are these people?
Are you?
So they were like, she needs to be committed because she's like publishing all of this negative stuff and she found out about it. The last big one, of course, is the death of Lisa McPherson. We've talked about it on the show before. She died from a pulmonary embolism while under the care of Flag Service Organization down at the Flagland base in Clearwater, Florida. The church was initially charged with negligent homicide, but the charges were dropped after the medical examiner changed the cause of death to an accident.
Money.
Yeah, and this has to do too with like at the time. Okay. I mean, they still have some of these.
I have so many thoughts about
I know.
this.
Yes.
They still have so many of these practices.
It makes me so mad.
But like at the time, they were doing these very extreme rundowns where the people were only drinking like broth type of things.
Yeah,
And they
healthy.
taking high levels of like niacin and then going and working out, like high levels of niacin to like purge their bodies. Yeah. and like locking people in the hole. Basically,
Isn't that why
it's kind
Tom
of crazy.
Cruise was like, don't take antidepressants. Let
No,
the
that's
sun heal you.
that is just it. Well, yes, yeah. That is a Scientology. They're very anti psychiatry.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get you clear or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So they can be easily manipulated.
Yeah, and then of course,
That's
as you guys
crazy.
mentioned, there's also the mysterious disappearance of Shelley Miscavige.
Shelley,
who
I think I
is-
called her Shirley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. We knew what you meant. David Miscavige, the current leader, his wife, has not been seen in public in many, many years. She has kind of like disappeared from public life.
Yes.
There are reports that she's been seen alive and well by police, but like nobody. Police
Nobody's
are
seen
saying
her.
we've seen her, but nobody
I
else
haven't
has
seen her.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't. Where is
Definitely
Shelley?
being
Show me.
tucked away. Okay, so what are your thoughts?
I might take this into a wee-woo direction. I
Okay.
hope you're okay with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
LRH, still alive. We're taking it back. We're taking
Okay.
it back to the 30s and the 40s.
Okay.
LRH still alive. If I remember correctly, he was living with Jack Parsons in California. And they were both under the tutelage of Aleister Crowley. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
And they were trying to do a ritual sex
They
summoning
weren't living
of a
together, but
demon.
they were very good friends. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Jack Parsons was a rocket scientist for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
By day. By night, him, LRH, and Aleister Crowley are doing sex magic.
This is all true. This is all
to try
true.
and summon this demon
Yeah.
to like reset the world.
This is all absolutely accurate. Yeah.
Yep.
And now Donald Trump's
Yeah.
here.
This is before the inception of Scientology or
Wow.
really any of his
Yes.
big sci-fi writing. Like
my
this,
So they were
predates
they were
that.
practicing
Yeah.
chaos magic in
Yeah.
the 30s and 40s,
Also-
and then the
Yeah.
Church of Scientology came out from.
Also, LRH
Right.
stole
Chaos
Jack Parsons' girlfriend.
Yep. LRH stole Jack Parsons' girlfriend.
Okay, I need to
Yeah.
look into this more.
It's a crazy
it's crazy.
story.
It's crazy. He died. Yeah, that's actually all.
Did you know
that
I was
is all
going to take
true.
it there?
No, I didn't. But like, there's so much weird shit with this case.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely so
It's
true.
insane.
And he did realize too, the way to make a lot of money was to create this religion. After he
Learned it from
learned
Crowley.
it, yes.
Yeah.
After he finished studying with Crowley, or
That guy's a
I don't want to
piece
say
of work.
finished because really that relationship was kind of like severed. Like
Yeah.
it was not ended
Yeah.
on
No.
on good
But
terms.
he took what he learned and turned it into the Church of Scientology.
Yeah, he did. I mean, yes, generally. There were some
I
steps
did
in between.
not
Yeah, yeah.
know
'Cause
that
he-
there was a connection between
Yep.
those two.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
it's insane. It's insane. Anyway, yeah. Was that your big thought? The blood
Yeah.
magic?
I am a big thought.
Oh yeah, blood Keurigs and now
Blood
sex
Keurig.
magic.
They're using the blood Keurig. It's
Oh my
all
gosh.
coming together.
All right, we're gonna move on. number one.
Big number one. This actually kind of worked out. I did I did my homework. I lied to you this whole time. This is one of my like hyper fixations for my whole life. I don't think it'll come as too much of a big surprise. I'm talking about the unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, also known as the Black Dahlia.
Love this
Okay.
case. Love this case.
You know what? Okay, so now that you've said that,
Yeah.
we did not have a single matching case at all.
Yeah, we didn't. I thought that we
didn't.
would.
I thought we would too, but we
There
did
were
not.
a bunch of years that I'm like, oh yeah, I could have put that.
I know,
almost
same,
Put that.
same.
That is so funny. We were just texting, like I was like, I wonder if we'll have any in common. And
I
no.
said, I don't know.
Ooh. I
Okay,
love
so
it.
Elizabeth Smart.
Yes, Elizabeth Short.
Or Short, sorry. Elizabeth
No, no,
Smart
no,
is a
no.
very different thing.
Very different.
Very different
no
thing.
Problem. No, that is okay. She was an American woman, a Los Angeles woman, who had the dream ever since she was a child to be famous. She wanted to be in movies. She wanted to be an actress, and she would pin a big, beautiful flower, a dahlia, in her hair just sort of to stand out. She was super, super gorgeous, dark hair, blue eyes, and she was going to auditions, doing her thing, and it you know, it's a tough business. It's a tough life. She's doing her best. And something that she did, because there's a rumor, now I support all sex workers, but she was not a sex worker. She would do this practice where a lot of these poor actresses did, where they would kind of date for dinner. Like, I don't have anything to eat, but I'll have a conversation with this guy.
Yeah.
So it's not prostitution. It's just dinner.
Yeah. It's just working what you got to
Just
eat.
dinner, and that's fine. And they suspect that one of these encounters may have led to her death.
Okay.
And her death is so gruesome. I remember that's one of those where, like, I saw the crime scene photos in a book when I was, like, too young to look at them. It was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Whoa!"
Like, oopsie.
Like, oh, fully, like, severed naked body in a field.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It really seemed like her murderer was trying to humiliate her. All splayed out, all cut in half. Her body was completely exsanguinated. They said that she was dismembered with surgical precision.
Wow.
And that her mouth was cut into, what is it called? A Glasgow smile. Like a Joker smile.
Yeah.
Where they cut her
Yeah.
cheeks. So and this poor lady walking with her baby in a stroller thought that it was a mannequin in a field and was like, oh, that's a dead body.
Oh,
So
shit. Oh, no.
That's her whole day ruined.
Damn.
The case to
That
this
poor
day,
woman. That really
I know,
would suck.
I always feel
Be like,
so
what is
bad.
that over there?
Isn't
Oh.
it, if I remember correctly, wasn't it like super close to the Cecil Hotel too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very close. Very close to the Cecil Hotel. I almost put Elisa Lam as one
Did
of my
you?
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Almost.
So mysterious.
Almost.
Yeah.
But that's the fact that it's unsolved to this day is really annoying. There's a prevailing theory. Have you heard the whole theory? The guy whose like son is campaigning. The guy who they think is the murderer is dead now.
Yeah.
But his son is like campaigning to be like, it was my dad. This was my dad.
Do they have any like DNA evidence or anything left behind from that?
No. They don't have, it's too old. They don't have DNA evidence, but they have this guy who a lot of people have called him, are like, yeah, you're crazy, like whatever. But there seems to be a lot of evidence, not physical, and then it's like
But that's
annoying.
the thing is like, I feel even with it being old, right? Like
Yeah.
the technology now is such that they can pull it off of.
That's what I'm
wondering
waiting
if
for.
they have like gone back to see if any of the stuff that they have has DNA on it, you know?
Yeah, a lot of it, and like they want to search the house where this guy lived, who was a doctor.
Yeah.
But somebody else owns the house and won't let them search, and like it's a lot of it seems like it's.
I mean, I
caught in,
kind of
like,
get
tape.
that though too, because that is very disruptive to just like have a
Absolutely.
bunch of fucking police in your place, like
Absolutely. But like there's all this like,
rustling about.
horrible. I just feel so bad. She seemed
Yeah.
like such a nice lady, so sweet, and it's so like sort of darkly dramatic. Where
Yeah.
it's like she always had this feeling that she would be well known. Well, she is, but
That is
not
so
for the
dark.
In, like,
isn't
a-
it?
Yes.
It's so
Dark
like
kinda way, yeah.
ironic. Absolutely,
yeah.
it's so sad. So she's always just really, I poor thing.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Just poor sweet thing, and then you're naked and dead in a field.
Yeah, that's a good pick though, because
Yeah.
it is again unsolved.
It's
like,
pretty mainstream,
the
but it's
theories.
always just like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm always like, oh my God.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that guy did it. I think that doctor guy did it.
Oh,
He
okay.
lived like a street away from where she was found.
Excuse me. Yeah,
And he probably killed people in another country.
probably.
That's what I say.
Probably.
That's
Yeah.
what I say.
Damn. So that was number one.
Number one, the Black
Okay,
Dahlia.
so
Ooh, who's your number one?
I mean, can you guess if there's one case I haven't talked about yet? See how well my friends know me.
Well,
I don't know.
just tell me.
Okay, my number one is Jim Jones and the People's Temple.
Oh, duh.
yeah.
Oh my God, duh.
Yeah.
See, I feel like we just talked about it, so I was kind of like, was it?
We did, yeah.
I just listened to a big podcast about that.
This is like the very first case that really got me interested in cults specifically
one.
and the effect that religion or like perceived religion has on large groups of people. And also like how charismatic leaders sort of can influence people. Like,
Yep.
it just
They're
is-
like a wreck themselves.
yeah, because there's definitely like a psychology aspect
Oh, absolutely.
to that piece of it. And we've talked about this before. Like, it's not necessarily dumb people getting into
No.
cults, right? Like, or it's a lot of times successful people or
No one
people
is
who are really
immune to
smart.
propaganda.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Nobody.
If you've never heard of this, this group is most
Buckle up.
remembered for what happened on November 18th, 1978 in Guyana when 918 died in a mass murder at the church's settlement called Jonestown, along with the murders of U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan and members of his delegation while they were visiting the remote settlement. This is crazy, until the September 11th terrorist attacks.
What?
This remained the single greatest loss of American civilian life in a deliberate act.
What?
Until 9/11.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
Is that crazy? Like, that is, and I'm sure you guys have seen like the aerial
absolutely.
Yeah.
pictures
Yeah,
of just
it's
all of
crazy.
the
Watch it. It makes me
bodies.
so upset.
Yeah. I mean,
Poor
it's
little
massive.
kids.
But then a lot of fucking people died in 9/11. So
Yes.
He was so cooked out of his mind.
He
by the
really
time
was.
That happened.
That's
He really was.
I just watched a
Yeah.
documentary about it, and I didn't realize the reason he wore sunglasses because his eyes were all glazed over. 'cause
Literally.
he's done so many drugs.
Yeah.
Literally. But it wasn't always like that.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
He started out
He was,
like
like-
legitimately doing really good
Yeah,
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he
Because
had good intentions.
he was like one of the
first.
first. Yes, he was one of the first people who was really making an effort to integrate his
Yep.
congregation.
Yeah.
and have people of all races like. What is it? Praising is the only word that I can think of. But going to church together.
Oh yeah,
Going to service.
Yeah. Like he really worshiping. Yes, thank you. Worshiping is what I was looking for. But like he really was, and he was a big activist for
Yes. For the Black community.
for the Black community, and was reaching out and making these connections between a lot of white and Black churches. Like he was really doing good stuff. And then he realized how much money he could be making. And then things got a little fucking weird. And it is right about the time that he started doing drugs, honestly. But that's when he was like, well, we have all these ties with Russia. We're going to have this land in Guyana. We're going to, if Russia can, even at the end, people were like, well, what about Russia? Can't Russia bail us out of this? Because he was telling people like the government's coming after us.
Yeah.
I was on coke.
So
Oopsie daisy.
this is a very perfect example where there is such a fine line between religion and cult.
Agreed.
Honestly, like I think Jim Jones is obviously insane, but I think a lot of the people who went with him really genuinely thought
They really believed in him.
they believed in him. They believed that the life in Guyana that they were going to create, where it was self-sustaining and living in this community of God, was like going to be the better way. And it just wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's sad, but it's just
Such a sad case.
I find it so interesting. And we talked about recently too that the Guyanan government
That's right.
is considering turning
Oh, yeah. Tourist or something.
yeah,
right?
turning
Yeah.
into like a tourist attraction
Yeah.
for like educational sort of purposes.
As long as it's done in that way, I
Right.
feel like I don't have a huge problem with it.
Have you ever heard any of the recordings of him doing his services down there in
Yes.
Guyana?
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
crazy.
It's
Definitely.
so eerie.
It
Yeah, it
is.
is.
Creepy.
It is. Yeah, it
guy
is.
was
The
a
whole thing is
dick.
insane. Anyway, he really was. But now he's dead,
Allegedly.
so fuck that guy.
But he's a,
So that is it.
and now he's dead.
That is our top 10.
Ooh.
Was there anything?
Okay, so I wrote down 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you've had some time to think,
Now that I
right?
had some time, and I was like, well, I had like Elizabeth Holmes on it too, but I was like, well, I'm going to take her off because you mentioned her. So
I was
good
going to
one.
ask if there was anything that maybe you were like expecting to hear that you
So
didn't.
there's 2 that I want to mention. One of them is the Night Stalker. I think you brought him up.
Richard Ramirez. Yeah, I brought him up because he was in the murder dinner in American Horror
Yeah.
Story. Yeah.
Yes.
But like his story is freaking wild too.
Crazy.
Like
Yes.
just wandering around LA, walking into houses that don't have the door locked and like killing the people inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Crazy.
literally
Yeah.
trying doors.
He
Yeah.
was
Oh, well.
he was something, and frankly the fact that when he got caught it was like a crowd
That's
of
my favorite
people
part.
Yeah.
that were like
Gangbusters, bitch.
you're not going
Yeah.
anywhere, and just
Yup.
fucking mobbed him till the cops got there.
Yeah, he
like
was beat to fuck.
yeah, like
I
that
love
is
that.
crazy to
That's
me
my
too.
favorite
I do
part of
kind
that
of love
case.
that. He was also in. Did you watch it was another American Horror Story series, 89 or it was the one at the camp. It was like American Horror Story.
Oh yeah, I started that
Summer
one. I couldn't
camp or
finish
whatever.
it.
Yeah, I think it
I
was.
didn't watch
in
that
that.
one.
Yeah, I started.
That's a big Richard Ramirez storyline.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to look.
But it's a little weird. It's like he is actually brought from the devil and is immortal and can keep coming back to kill people because he's killing in the name of the devil.
The devil.
Yeah.
Ryan Murphy.
But the guy that got to play him was really good. Anyway, who is the other
The
one?
other one was Ed Kemper.
Oh yeah, I had him
Shout out
written
to
down and I took him
Mindhunter.
off.
Really?
He was so
that
good
was
in
probably the
Mindhunter.
best portrayal
Yeah,
of
that
him.
was
That
crazy.
guy is born to play Ed Kemper.
Yes.
Born.
Yes.
That is his voice, everything. If
Yeah.
you guys have not seen Mindhunter, please check it out.
Yeah, it's
David
really
Fincher,
good.
Season
I'm
2
so
sucks.
sad. I just want to talk.
I
Stop
disagree.
it. Stop at the end of season 1.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree.
I'm convinced that you don't know anything when it comes to talking about television.
You might be right. And I'm just here to argue.
You have so many hot takes that I'm like, you are fucking wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Versus.
That is, Ed Kemper is.
Whatever. At least I watch the shows you suggest to me.
True.
Sometimes.
Boom. Boom.
Sometimes.
Roasted.
You never watch those shows I suggest to
Like
you.
what?
I don't know. I'll think of something.
Yeah.
The ones
like
he
what?
suggested.
Yeah.
I had one in mind that I was like, surely this is what he's going to say.
Yellow Jackets?
No, I haven't watched that.
Usually
But you only suggested that to me like
no.
3 days ago.
No.
Yeah.
I've heard that's so good.
It's great.
Yeah,
wanna
I've had
watch
other
that.
people
You should.
suggest it to me.
It looks so good.
I'm trying to finish Eastbound and Down right now. Anyway.
Are you watching House?
Nice. I do too. Yes, I do too. Anyway, so that has been our top 10.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
We've made it all the way to the end. I'm not going to delay the end of the show. I'm not even going to introduce the trailer. We're just going to go to the end of the show because this has been a
Goodbye.
long ass episode.
Good night.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Michael Wanfalt for coming
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
in the
This was so
studio
fun.
with us
This was
finally.
so much fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. I liked that.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts before we finish up?
Not really. Just want to say shout out to Alec and Summer if you're still listening. If
Our
you're still
besties,
listening,
Alec and Summer.
You need to come on here next.
I'm pretty
Yes,
sure
please.
he does because he messages me occasionally. Alec at least is.
Stay tuned.
Yes, are very good friends. I also just want to, on a personal note, thank you guys for sticking with us for 200 episodes.
We love you.
We've been doing this for a very, very long time. I honestly did not think that we would still be around this long.
Yeah, we made it.
I often say this is the longest commitment I've ever made in my life.
It's fun though.
It's like a marriage.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun. It's just sitting in a room talking with my friends for like a couple hours.
What more could you ask
on a
for?
Sunday?
Yeah.
So it's been a wild ride. We're not ending the show. That made
Thank
it sound
you
like
for
this is
coming
the end of the
along
show.
with us.
Yeah.
No, we're still
Yeah,
going.
no,
Put
no.
more gas in the car.
We got more episodes to make.
Subscribe to Patreon.
We don't. I mean, you can, but it's
Make
not.
us a Patreon
it's
and then
not.
subscribe
We
to it.
have one.
Oh,
It's we'll talk about it later.
technological difficulties.
Yeah. But on that note, our sound and editing is by Tiffelman. Our music is by Jason Zakshevsky, the Enigma. This has been the Bad Taste Crime Podcast. We will see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Bye.
Drives along the highway.
It was as if a wave of evil washed over this town.
We are all people in some form or another.